omega-6 fatty acids. So there are only 2 essential fatty acids in our body that we cannot synthesize. These are ALA, omega-3, and LA, omega-6. ALA is alpha-linoleic acid, LA is linoleic acid. So these are raw materials. ALA and LA are raw materials for our body to synthesize omega-3 and omega-6 from. What is omega-3 and why do we need it? Probably you have heard people saying good fat. They don't actually mean these fats probably by saying good fat, but good fats are omega-3 and omega-6, especially because our bodies cannot synthesize. Omega-3 fats have fluidity and permeability of the cell wall for nutrients and toxins to get in and out. So our cells have a wall, like a membrane around it, right? So if we didn't have omega-3, those cells would be like so stiff. It cannot get the nutrients inside and it cannot get the toxins outside, like all the materials we cannot take it out, and we cannot take so there is no in and out if we cannot have enough omega-3. And if we cannot have enough omega-6, that cell wall would be like mushy, like it won't be contained. So we need a good balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So that's why it's important for neuronal conduction, retina of eye, brain. So almost every function in the body, for every cell, we need omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids are essential nutrients that are important for many bodily functions, so including brain and eye health. Omega-3s are necessary for building brain cells and nourishing brain and eye functions. Heart health. Omega-3s can help prevent and treat heart disease by reducing triglycerides, lowering blood pressure, and slowing plaque buildup in your arteries. Inflammation. Omega-3s have anti-inflammatory properties that can help with joint inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, and many other inflammatory conditions. Development. Omega-3s are important for fetal development in pregnant ladies and brain development in babies. So cognitive health. Omega-3s may help protect against cognitive decline. As we mentioned, neuronal conduction is important, so that's why it affects the cognitive functions. So if you don't have enough omega-3, unfortunately causes cognitive decline, Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Autoimmune diseases. All the autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, inflammatory conditions, Sjogren disease, for example. Omega-3s may help treat autoimmune diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, all the rheumatoid conditions. Omega-3 fatty acids, from the other side, omega-3 is we mentioned, now omega-6 fatty acids. They are essential too for our health. So, brain function, again, omega-6 are important for brain function and development along with omega-3s as well. Omega-6 may help lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart attacks and the heart disease. Skin and hair growth. So something different that omega-6 does. Skin and hair growth. Omega-6 helps stimulate skin and hair growth. Bone health. Omega-3 help maintain bone health. bone density, metabolism. Omega-6 helps cell health in all our body, help maintain healthy cell structure and processes, like we mentioned earlier, to keep contain the cell, like the cell wall, cell membrane. Heart health and regulating metabolism. Omega-6 is found mainly in vegetable oils, nuts, grains, legumes, avocado, and poultry. As you see, we need both omega-3 and omega-6. When we eat alpha-linoleic acid and linoleic acid as raw material to make these omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, many tissues, many cells in our body convert them into longer chain fatty acids that are either inflammatory or pro-inflammatory. So two pathways. One pathway goes EPA and DHA, yani omega-3 fatty acids. The other pathway is omega-6. So EPA, DHA, this omega-3 is anti-inflammatory pathway. The other one is, that comes from LA, that goes to omega-3, 6, arachidonic acid. That is the inflammatory pathway. So we both need both of these pathways, but in balance, right? Our body needs some inflammation as well. Those small inflammations when we have wound, a splinter, when we hit your arm somewhere, for example, right? We need inflammation when necessary. For example, when we get injured, we need those inflammatory cells to contain and repair the cells and tissues that are injured. But too much omega-6 is causing too much inflammation, general inflammation in our body, and causing metabolic disease. So the key is balance. So for that reason, we need to keep omega-3, reduce omega-6 in our diet, because majority of the food, processed food, standard American diet in almost all the countries, actually obesity is rising. The problem is omega-6, eating too much omega-6. So the ratio should not be more than 4:1. So we don't want 4 times omega-6, 1 time omega-3. So we want 1:1, but we don't want more than 4:1. But in standard American diet, all the countries right now, obesity is rising. Usually the rate is unfortunately more than 20:1. We are consuming a lot of inflammatory food that is causing fatty liver disease, cardiovascular disease, obesity, inflammatory bowel disease, RA, all the autoimmune conditions, and Alzheimer's. The other problem is, if you're eating a lot of LA, yani omega-6 is raw material, linoleic acid, the enzyme that converts these fatty acids, so there is one enzyme for these both pathways, that enzyme become more active on the inflammatory omega-6 pathway. So it's so busy, it cannot get out of this pathway. So there's one enzyme that does both, right? Too busy converting LA to omega-6. That's the other reason why you become omega-3 deficient, because the enzyme is too busy doing the other thing, cannot convert ALA to omega-3. Okay? That's why you are always in a chronic inflammatory state. Okay, let's get back to omega-3 and ALA. When we eat a healthy diet, ALA we consume converts to EPA and DHA. These are omega-3 fatty acids. EPA prevents depression and also reverses depression. DHA is critical for our brain and eye health. Together, for both EPA and DHA promote the formation of new neurons, new brain cells in your brain, improve memory, and may help prevent against dementia and Alzheimer's disease. It's very important to eat sufficient amount of ALA to make enough EPA and DHA. The good news is, it's very easy to do that. Men should eat 1.6 gram of ALA and women should eat 1.1 gram ALA. 1 tablespoon, heaping tablespoon freshly ground chia seed is 2.5 gram ALA. And 1/3 of your palm size is also 2.5 gram ALA. If you eat a healthy diet, a lot of vegetables and fruits, you will get enough ALA. You will never be deficient. But remember, omega-6, if you're eating too much, is going to make you deficient. But the amount that you need, you're always getting it from your food. A lot of vegetables, fruits, you will get enough ALA and will reduce your LA automatically. Your balance will be 1-to-1 ratio. It won't be beyond 4-to-1 ratio if you eat healthy diet, vegetables, fruits, and these seeds. And walnuts, we say. If you want to make sure your omega is sufficient in your body, there are tests for it if you want to get tested. In the United States, I think they do that. There's a company called Omega Quant, I think, but there's no need for that. Every 4 months, if you want, you can get tested. As we say, the ratio shouldn't be more than 4-to-1, but that's what the Quant, Omega Quant tells you. So, omega-3 supplements from algae source is possible to. They sell algae, like, because fish eats algae and makes omega-3, right? So there's omega-3 in algae as algae supplementation as well, so they sell it. It's healthy because it doesn't have saturated fat in it like fish does, and they have less contaminant because they are not going, they are not swimming like algae, right, in plants in the sea. So taking it from fish sources increases diabetes risk. Saturated fat, fish oils cause these. Too much pollutant, PCBs, pesticides, mercury consumption together is a concern. They cause metabolic and neurologic diseases, including hypertension, cardiovascular disease, coronary artery dysfunction, arteriosclerosis, beta cell dysfunction in pancreas. That's why it causes diabetes, and at the end it even causes beta cell death. Dioxin and PCBs cause hormonal disruptions, like affecting the thyroid gland and causing cancer, and female hormones too, and male hormones. So how is it going to be good for you with all these toxins? So fish oil marketing is very strong. They're very strong industry, billions of industry. So I don't see how it's going to be the hero and come and save you from all these diseases with all these chemicals it has in it and saturated fat, all these pollutants from the oceans. So overall, do we really need to take omega-3 supplements anyway? So omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. Taking it as a supplement in normal people did not show any health benefits. Remember, because healthy people are not in chronic inflammatory state because their omega-3, omega-6 balance is okay. So in people who have inflammatory conditions, in chronic inflammatory condition, those people benefit from omega-3 supplements. We do not take it for our daily needs, as it's already in the fruits and vegetables. Remember, we can reduce triglycerides. If you're taking it to reduce the triglycerides, we can reduce the triglycerides by not eating animal fat, processed carbs, not drinking alcohol and any sugar drinks. We can exercise and reduce the triglycerides. Strength training, resistance training is the best exercise to reduce the triglycerides. But let's not have triglycerides in our body at all by not consuming processed food and all these, animal fat. And first of all, we shouldn't eat excessive calories so that we don't produce triglycerides. By just taking omega-3, we won't magically get better. It's not going to solve our health problems. Too much intake, actually, more than the recommended amount, like I told earlier, will be too much too. It may even cause weight gain, especially eating too much fish for the omega content, heating up that omega-3. When you're cooking the fish, that omega-3 is heated up. Remember, we say they turn to trans fats. Omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, when they are heated up, denatured, especially frying, destroys 85% of the omega-3 from fish. Also, fat oxidation is toxic to the human cells. On top of all this too much fat, weight gain will increase your insulin resistance too. Excessive fish consumption due to this pollution, poisoning, cancer, Alzheimer's, liver and kidney failure, and hormonal disruptions. Many diseases caused by this excessive fish consumption. It's just like too much, overrated, that we have to take these omega-3s from the fish sources. Especially when you concentrate it in fish oil, you try to take it this way, in a fish oil supplement, the dose of the poison will increase even more, right? It's very concentrated. Because 1 capsule of fish oil is removed from 8 to 10 salmon or tuna fillet. So very concentrated. A lot of fish are used for even 1 capsule. Okay, in the meantime, if there are any questions, I'm looking. Okay. Also, we say that as soon as the oil is removed from the fish, it gets rancid, right? It is oxidized and deteriorates over a period of time. It tastes disgusting. So various artificial flavors are used to suppress that taste. So those rancid oils, as soon as you remove, the oxygen in the air, in the matter of seconds, it just turns rancid. So they put protective chemicals to prevent it going more oxidized, and actually oxidized oil it's not going to benefit you, just the opposite. It's going to cause a lot of damage with its free radicals. It's toxic to human cells, basically, rancid omega-3. There is no control for these supplements either, not even in the United States. There is no body of, organization to see if these fish oils are rancid, or it has these chemicals, or pollutants. There is nobody to check on those. There is no institution that examines these. You have to believe whatever the company says, basically, whatever it says on it. So it is definitely over-exaggerated. Fish oil manufacturers market is very good. As of this year in 2024, it's a $50 billion industry. By 2030, it is expected to exceed 20 billion industry. As we just mentioned, marine fish has omega-3. Say, how about like farm fish? Farm fish has more omega-3 because they are fatter, they are fattened up more, right? But the concern is in farm fish, they are usually fed with corn, grain, beef, processed omega-rich processed pellets, fish food they are consuming. So when they consume too much omega-6 from these feed, it disrupts omega-3, omega-6 balance in them as well. And when we consume farm fish, it also causes many chronic diseases in us because of the imbalance. Again, the balance is the key, okay? Also in farm fish and crowded ponds, they are eating each other's feces, you know, they poop there, right? So to prevent infections from eating each other's feces, they use a lot of pesticides to eliminate the infections. Fungicides, antibiotics are also used. And these are also very harmful to human health. So again, you know, if you're eating fish once in a while, once a week, it's not gonna kill you. But you know, if you're eating every day, it's a concern. You know, a lot of people have liver problems because of too much mercury. So that's proven. I know a lot of people around me, you know, they got to check it was too much mercury and they were told that no more fish eating. If you eat a healthy diet, a lot of fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, you will have enough ALA and LA in your diet automatically. Okay, you will be able to convert it to omega-3. So a fish can convert, you cannot convert. So, you know, use the most, you know, complex in animal kingdom. So you should be able to convert your omega-3s and omega-6s from the raw materials yourself in your body. So let's look at those fruits and vegetables which contain a lot of omega-3s. Okay, blueberries, apples. You know, who would think that fruits would have it, right? Blueberry, apple, kiwi, lettuce, even lettuce and all green vegetables have a lot of omega-3 properties. Eat a salad a day, make a smoothie with flax, chia, freshly ground. You know, we can grind together with all the vegetables and fruits in the blender. Smoothie, flax, chia, walnuts. Populations who lived inland did not have any access to fish or sea vegetables, right? They just ate these. So they didn't die of any deficiency. In the history, there were no, you know, populations dying, inland population dying of omega-3 deficiency. So there were never reported cases. You know, omega-3 comes from plants anyway, like raw material, you know, starts with plants, we say. The fish gets it from the plants too, from algae. Also, I have mentioned before, just reduce omega-6. If you want omega-3 sufficient in your body, you just need to reduce the omega-6. If you're consuming too much cooking oils, heating up too much, making it trans fat, eating too much processed foods, then your balance is off. Not just that omega-3 is not enough, it's just the balance is off. Please don't forget, omega-3 and omega-6 turn to trans fat if you heat in high temperature. Okay, hopefully it was helpful. You can always write your questions. Let me see if there are any questions here before I finish the live. Any questions? Merhabalar Nurdan and Turgay. I don't see any questions right now. Let me see. Okay, I don't see any questions here. Let me see if there is any messenger questions. No, I don't see anything. So, okay, I'm finishing off right now. I'll see everybody next week with another subject. Please write if you want anything that I want to discuss. I think next week I will do hypertension because someone requested that subject. You can always write to me. I put it in line and, you know, I'll prepare myself and get ready for that. So I'll see you guys next week. You can always write your questions and I'll go back and see the questions and answer them, okay? Bye everybody. See you next week.